London on 1458 AM and DAB, smart speaker, mobile app and LikerRadio.com.
This is Leica Radio.
On the Sky News Centre at 9, police in the UK have called violent clashes affecting Liverpool fans in Paris last night the worst seen at a European football match. The Merseyside force went to the Champions League final as supporters were made to wait in huge queues before the game. French officers allegedly pepper sprayed some fans. These people went to the game.
That was awful. For me, personally, that was terrifying.
Queued up for close to an hour and a half just to get kettled in up here.
We were getting tear gas, we're getting charged with shields. It's an absolute joke. We go to Anfield every week and everything's fine.
The club's calling for an investigation into what it's calling unacceptable issues. Liverpool lost 1-0 to Real Madrid. A cabinet minister insists he doesn't recognise claims that Downing Street officials pressured Sue Gray to dilute her Partygate report. The Sunday Times claims the senior civil servant was asked to leave the names of some of the key players out. Here's the Northern Ireland Secretary, Brandon Lewis.
She's an independently minded, as well as doing this in an independent kind of capacity, and a very professional civil servant. So knowing Sue Gray, I don't believe anybody would be able to pressure Sue Gray into putting any kind of report out that she wasn't comfortable with.
Holiday makers face another day of delays at UK airports after some airlines cancelled flights due to operational difficulties. EasyJet has dropped around 24 flights a day from Gatwick between now and the 6th of June. A plane in Nepal's gone missing with 22 people on board. Officials say it was flying from Pokhara to Jomsom. US President Joe Biden will travel to Uvalde in Texas later to pay respects to the 19 children and 2 teachers killed in a school shooting. Police have admitted they got their response wrong. And it's thought the use of pounds and ounces could return to Britain's shops to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The Sunday Mirror's reporting Boris Johnson will announce staff will be able to price items in those measurements instead of metric kilos and grams. That's the latest. I'm AJ Nair.
Behold the Heinz sandwich. Soft, fresh bread, caressed by the tastiest, the creamiest mayo. Yeah! Everything else is just filler. Heinz sandwich may also contain cheese, ham, salad, tuna, crisps, or a million other less important ingredients, and Heinz Seriously Good Mayo. Bread sold separately.
Leica Radio 1458 and Leica Gold 1035, a part of the Leica Group. Leica Radio Weather is brought to you by TravelUp.com. Our lowest prices are guaranteed only when you book directly through TravelUp.com or call 0207 580 5000.
The weather today, Sunday 29th of May 2022. Sunny intervals and gentle breeze. In London and surrounding areas, top temperature 15 centigrade. Sunset is at 9:04 p.m.
Weather was brought to you by TravelUp.com. Our lowest prices are guaranteed only when you book directly through TravelUp.com.
Leica Radio.
Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Leica, London.
Leica Radio.
Good morning and welcome to the 112th edition of Talking Points on Leica Radio with me, Keith Vaz. Thank you for joining us today, Sunday the 29th of May 2022, and thank you, Gilly, for a great show. I hope you're having a great weekend. Happy anniversary for last week. I forgot to mention it, so I'm doing it now, to Tulsia and Steve. Happy birthday today to Bing. This week, the whole of the nation will celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The 4 days of celebrations will include public events and community activities, as well as national moments of reflection on the Queen's 70 years of service. What a wonderful weekend we have ahead of us. Last Tuesday, the Elizabeth Line, a £19 billion new tube and railway service, was officially opened. Londoners' reaction was very positive, with passengers impressed by the vast platforms, mega escalators and cathedral stations. It stretches from Reading to Heathrow in the west and through central London to Abbey Wood in the southeast of the city, and Shenfield and Essex. And I'm delighted to say, for those of us here at Leica, it goes through Canary Wharf. Toot, toot. On Thursday, Chancellor Rishi Sunak announced that every single household in the United Kingdom is to get an energy bill discount of £400 this October as part of a package of new measures to tackle the cost of living, which is being on the increase. And I noted this week that the cost of a puppy a Cavapoo has gone down from £3,000 to £1,600. For all of you dog lovers, you must have been astonished at the increase in prices during COVID. Well, good news is the price is coming down. On the programme today, we'll be talking to my special guest, starting in London with Klaus Mitchell, about how to live with a plant-based diet. After that, we're staying in London to talk to the journalist Mark Wadsworth about his docudrama on the life of Aloadu Equiano, someone who was once free, who became a slave, and then became free again. It was broadcast earlier this week on the BBC. Finally, we're going to end up in God's country, in Leicester, with Hema Chiama, who will be talking to us about how they are going to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee at the People Centre in Leicester. But before all that, let's hear some music.
चलना है माही मैं तेरे पीछे पीछे चलना तू जी सकदी नहीं मैं जी सकदा नहीं कोई दूसरी मैं शर्तां भी रखदा नहीं क्या तेरे बाजो मेरा सच्चियां मोहब्बत सकदी नहीं मैं रह सकदा नहीं तेरे बिन यारा और किते तकदा नहीं क्या तेरे बाजो मेरा रंग तेरा चढ़े आए कि हुण कोई रंग नहीं हो चढ़ना जिथे भी तू चले
Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Leica, London.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. We are what we eat. How can eating a plant plant-based diet lead us to a nutritious life? Let's talk to one of the country's leading experts. My special guest today is Klaus Mitchell, who's always had a passion for health and nutrition. He graduated from the University of Exeter and then went to do a further degree at UCL. He launched Plant-Based News to raise awareness around the health and environmental benefits of a plant-based diet, which now boasts over 2.8 million followers on social media. In 2021, Plant-Based News raised over $1 million via investment platforms as a way of scaling up and expanding its reach. He was the script editor on the groundbreaking Netflix documentary Seaspiracy. He directs an annual documentary series on plant-based news showcasing the developments in the sustainability and alternative protein sector. Let's talk to Klaus Mitchell. Good morning, Klaus.
Thank you so much for having me, Keith. Great to be here.
When did you begin your passion about plant-based lifestyle?
I became interested in it in 2010 after I read a book called The China Study by T. Colin Campbell about the healthful effects of a plant-based diet. And I started to shift over and I began to feel amazing. And that's really what inspired me to go on this journey.
So up until that time, presumably you were like the rest of us. Well, like me, you ate meat and other items. Is that right? Or were you always on a plant-based diet?
No, I was never on a plant-based diet for the first 20 years of my life. So for 20 years, I ate animal products for breakfast, lunch and dinner. My mum was vegetarian, but I wasn't. And I really thought we needed animal protein to not only survive, but thrive. And then I learned that, the biggest dietetic association state that we actually don't need these products and we can survive and thrive on an exclusively plant-based diet. And that really inspired me.
Of course, many people of Indian origin are vegetarians anyway and don't eat meat. But what you're talking about is something that goes beyond vegetarianism and indeed beyond veganism. What are the latest trends?
Well, there's a kind of rise in the conscious consumer, explaining why, according to a recent report, a third of Brits are interested in the vegan lifestyle. However, globally, what we're seeing is that meat consumption is still going up. And as such, my recent interest has been in the alternative protein space, giving people the same products as they had before with the same taste and texture, but in a way that doesn't require an animal to be exploited. So let's just imagine a world where you can still eat meat, but without an animal being slaughtered. You can still consume dairy without a cow being milked, and you can still eat fish without the bottom of our ocean being trawled to catch the fish. These ideas might sound bizarre, but this is kind of the reality that I've come to understand will be our future.
Because 1 in 3 is a very, very large figure. It's about 20 million people in this country with an awareness and interest. I'm not saying 1 in 3 are vegetarians. Tell us about some of the innovations that have occurred in recent years.
Sure, yeah. It started a few years ago with things like plant-based burgers and plant-based milks, which are just exploding. But now we're going one step further with cultivated meat, which is identical on the molecular level to traditional meat. It basically involves putting animal cells in an incubator, providing them with rich nutrients and allowing them to grow into muscle exactly as they would inside the animal's body, except outside of the body. And this hugely consequential innovation, Keith, is not going to be limited to meat. British billionaire Jim Mellon recently came out saying he is certain the future will be free from traditional dairy because of something called precision fermented dairy, which is real dairy made from microbes instead of mammary glands in fermentation tanks, which is basically similar to the process in which, make beer, similar to that process.
That's fascinating, Klaus. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to ask you further questions about why we should all now be leading a plant-based, nutritious life. Join us after the break.
7 Star Entertainment રજૂ કરે છે ગુજરાતી લોક ડાયરો. આપણું સાહિત્ય, આપણી માટી અને આપણી ધૂળની વાતો. ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ ઇન યુકે રાજબા ધડવી અને સાથે છે કચ્છી કોયલ ગીતા રબારી. આ હરિયાળી રાત છે 11 જૂનના at Harrow Leisure Centre HA35BD. For tickets and further information, contact Videorama, Bollywood Pan and Jalsa Pan. Event managed by Devi Singh Patel. 074-556-01234.
जीतेगा कौन? Hindustan. Ayushmann Khurrana is back in Anek, exploring the North-East conflict in Anubhav Sinha's political drama.
North Indian नहीं, South Indian नहीं, East Indian नहीं, West Indian नहीं, सिर्फ Indian कैसे होता है?
Anek, releasing May the 27th.
Celebrate all your special moments with Haldiram's. Your most loved Haldiram sweets are made in the UK. Now available at Sainsbury's and Asian grocery stores across the country. You can also order online at www.haldiramuk.com.
Flight Path Travel. We are agents of our customers to help you get the best travel solutions for worldwide travel for air ticket, RT-PCR, hotel, tour and visa. Call now on 0203 463 7788.
My family members are coming to UK.
Are they? Leica Mobile is giving 70% discount on all their bundle plans to celebrate the Queen's 70th Jubilee celebration.
Wow! Let me quickly buy some SIM cards for my family online so they can travel independently in UK.
Don't miss our biggest ever discount of 70%. Visit leicamobile.co.uk today. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid from the 27th of May till the 5th of June. When you buy online, new customers only. Leica Mobile.
Hello, Britain. Albert Einstein here. To those of you who have got a smart meter, I applaud you. You are helping to modernize Britain's outdated energy system, helping us use more renewable energy. The downside of doing this message on radio is that you can't see that I'm proudly toasting you with a cup of Earl Grey. But the upside is, you can't see that I'm still in my dressing gown. Cheers.
Search Get a Smart Meter today. Consumer action required. Eligibility may vary.
पाकिस्तान पैसे भिजवाने का सबसे बेफिक्र तरीका बेफिक्र मोबाइल ऐप डाउनलोड बेफिक्र ऐप today or visit bayfikr.net.
Ever tasted German ice cream? Try it at Scoop Herb on Ealing Road, Alperton or Rayners Lane, Harrow.
बेक्सली हीथ के अली भवन जाइए तो आपका पेट कभी नहीं रहेगा खाली क्योंकि वहाँ मिलता है थाली इंडियन और श्रीलंकन ट्रेडिशनल फेस्टिव फुल वेजिटेरियन सेट मील जिसमें शामिल है पापड़म वड़ा एंड पायसम स्पेशली मेड विद एरोमेटिक बासमती राइस एंड आटा फ्लावर चपाती एंड 11 items of vegetarian curries and sides exclusively made for Ali Bhavan and available in store every Friday and Saturday for just £7.50. Ali Bhavan, it's all about food.
The one thing COVID did give us, digital transformation. If you're serious about digital growth and would like a tactical approach to your digital marketing, then remember the name Hearty Hanks. With over 20 years experience and a proven track record, we have the talent and know-how to deliver online success. Hearty Hanks, experts in consultancy, branding, design, e-commerce, search and social. Call Hearty Hanks today on 020 8827 1600 or visit hhdigital.uk. Hearty Hanks, your partners for digital success.
You wanted it, you got it. The new Leica Radio mobile app is available now. Download for free from the Play Store or App Store and listen to Leica Radio and Leica Gold wherever you are. The personalities that matter with Keith Vaz on Talking Points.
Leica Radio.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm talking to one of the country's leading experts and advocates of a plant-based nutritious life, Klaus Mitchell. Klaus, when you first got on this journey, which is an interesting journey, were there people who thought there was something wrong with you? I mean, did anyone in your family or your friend circle think, my goodness, what's happened to Klaus?
Yeah, the movement and the lifestyle has changed massively, right? The awareness has changed. I remember 10 years ago, people thought I was crazy for, even thinking about adopting a plant-based lifestyle. And now we see documentaries that are executively produced by Leonardo DiCaprio and just so many amazing milestones. And I think society's really shone a spotlight on animal agriculture. And we now recognize it as the leading cause of most environmental ills, which is absolutely true.
One of the key things that you mentioned in part one was the possibility that you can eat something that looks like a beef burger, but it isn't a beef burger, but it tastes like a beef burger. This requires science, doesn't it? Are you worried that there is too much science involved in veganism? It's not absolutely natural.
That's a really, really good point. I guess what we do to animals right now in 2022, when we selectively breed them, when we exploit their reproductive organs, and, when we take away their babies shortly after birth so we can take the milk, and when we kill them windowless slaughterhouses, isn't natural. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the food chain. That's the first thing to acknowledge. The second thing is, we don't need to consume these products. We can thrive on a plant-based diet replete with foods like fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains. It's just that a lot of people struggle to do that because meat and dairy is so ingrained in our society. So alternative protein is just about giving people another option. But I'm absolutely acknowledging the fact that it's not optimal for human health, but it's better than meat and dairy.
But there is an issue here that if you don't eat meat, you might get anemia. Those who support the dairy industry will be trying to paint you and what you're saying as someone who represents a minority. What you're saying, 1 in 3 is a very, very large minority, and it could become a majority. Do you think with what we're seeing in terms of the rising costs of living and the rising costs of meat, that actually people will automatically have to turn to a plant-based diet because it will be just cheaper?
I think so, yeah. The only reason meat and dairy is so cheap is because it's subsidized so heavily by our government. It artificially puts the price of meat, dairy, eggs and fish down. And that's why fruit and vegetables are eye-wateringly expensive when you go to supermarkets. But actually, when you go to supermarkets, the cheapest foods are the things like rice and beans and legumes. And they're actually the healthiest foods. So, this issue of price, it is relevant, but you can consume a plant-based diet at a very affordable rate.
And are you telling me that when you switched, you yourself felt quite different, that your attitude, your view of life, your own personal health changed when you gave up meat and you gave up fish?
Definitely, yeah. I remember to stay in shape, I used to, have to go to bed hungry and have to do these kind of crazy fasts and this kind of thing. But now I can eat as much as possible within reason if it's the right foods, and stay, relatively good shape. And that's the advantage of a plant-based diet. It's so great for weight loss, especially when you're, having the really, really healthy foods. And basically, as I said, what I'm passionate about now, though, is, the changing food landscape and the alternative protein, the dairy that doesn't require milking a cow, the meat that doesn't require animal slaughter, because it's just so great for the environment. It's so great for the antibiotic resistance crisis, no pandemic risk. And people barely need to change their behavior. They don't need to have smoothies and fruits and vegetables and rice and beans. They just literally need to have the same products as they did before, but with a new mode of production that does not require an animal to be slaughtered. And that for me is really inspiring, the technology and the innovation and the money pouring into this space.
Klaus Mitchell, we always ask our special guests to choose a song that means something special to them and to dedicate it to someone special. Which song have you chosen and to whom is it dedicated?
I'm going to choose the Hummer song. I can't remember who's the artist, but I remember it played at my wedding last year, and that was an Indian wedding. I'm very proud of that song, and I dedicate it to my wife.
Good choice, Klaus. Very good choice. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been fascinating. I'm almost there, by the way, based on what you've just said. The only thing that stops me really, really enjoying a plant-based diet is the way people cook vegetables. I think they don't treat vegetables with the respect that they deserve. People are always doing these great programs on meat and fish and all those kinds of foods, but not on vegetables. But you're someone who I think will move the dial on this. Thank you for your passion, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and best wishes to all of your listeners at Leica Radio. Thank you so much.
Let's hear Klaus Mitchell's song.
हो गए हम और तुम तो उड़ गई नींदें रे और खन की पायल मस्ती में तो कंगन
इस बात का है बस कि कहीं ना ये रात निकल जाए मेरी इतनी भी पास दुआ मत कहीं मेरे हाथों से न बात निकल जाए बोलूंगा सच में जो दे तू इजाजत सबर भी अब करने लगा बगावत सुल्फे हैं जालिम और आंखें हैं आफत लगता है होने वाली है कयामत मत तड़पा ऐसे तू न करना इंसाफी जो गलती करने वाला हूँ मैं उसके लिए पहले से ही मांगता हूँ माफी
चांदनी जैसा ये बदन जन्म मिला तुमको मन में सोचा था जैसा रूप तेरा आया नजर हमको
सितम खुली खुली सनम गोरी गोरी बाहें करती रहियो हमें तुमने जब गले लगाया तो खो ही गए हम एक हो गए हम और तुम हम्मा तो उड़ गए नंदरे हम्मा
Keith Vaz on Talking Points. Leica.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio.
Is it not enough that we were torn from our country and friends to toil for your luxury and lust of gain? Must every tender feeling be likewise sacrificed to your avarice?
Those were the opening words of a docudrama that was broadcast by the BBC this week on the life of an amazing black man in Britain, Oladu Equiano. My next guest is Mark Wadsworth, MAFRSA, an award-winning black rights campaigner, author of the acclaimed Comrade Sack, Saputridge Satlawala's MP, a political biography, and BBC TV and radio producer and trade unionist. His docu-drama, The Amazing Life of Oladu Equiano, was broadcast by BBC Radio 4 at 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Mark Wadsworth founded the Anti-Racist Alliance, which became Europe's largest black-led movement and played a key role with Doreen and Neville Lawrence in getting justice for Stephen Lawrence. He's the editor of the latest.com, Britain's first dedicated citizen journalism website. Let's talk to Mark Wadsworth, one of Britain's pioneering black journalists. Good morning, Mark Wadsworth.
Good morning, Keith.
Why did you make this documentary about Oladu Equiano?
Well, I think it's important. I'm a historian myself. I have a master's in contemporary British history, which I'm pleased to say I passed with a first from King's College, London. And there are so many hidden histories of great African, Caribbean and Asian sheroes and heroes. Sophia Dulip Singh, one of the leading suffragettes who was Indian, Shabaji Saklat Vala, one of 3 Parsi MPs who got elected to the British Parliament, Oladu Equiano, who I made the programme about, William Cuffy, who's one of the leaders of the Chartist movements. And they're all forgotten about. And I felt it my duty as a historian, as a community campaigner, as a broadcaster, that this should be put before a British audience in 2022, which is actually the 225th anniversary of Equiano's death. And people remember the white MP William Wilberforce as our saviour, allegedly sort of getting legislation through, well, he did get legislation through Parliament, the abolition of the slave trade. But outside of Parliament, Equiano had written a best-selling book, which ran to 9 editions. And he was as much a significant figure in the abolition movement as William Wilberforce, if not, some people would argue, a greater figure.
Are you correcting the record in the programme that you make, or are you reminding a completely new generation who perhaps take freedom for granted that this is what happened to some of their ancestors?
Well, it's a reminder. It's also putting this story in front of a new generation, as you correctly say, who won't have Equiano in their history books. They just about have Mary Seacole, the sort of black person who was around the same time as Florence Nightingale as a nurse during the Crimea War in the curriculum. We've had to fight really hard to get black figures, and by black I mean African, Caribbean and Asian, political black, mentioned in the national curriculum. It's very, very difficult. It's an uphill struggle. And you'll know, Keith, that the Black Lives Matter movement, which was the youth, the radical youth that led that, part of their demand was decolonize the curriculum, tear down these statues of these white racist slave traders, like the one in Bristol of Edward Colson, slaver. And so it's very important, because if you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going. If you don't know that you had sheroes and heroes who were people of colour, then you're not going to have the same confidence and respect for yourself that your white counterparts have.
This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm talking to one of Britain's best-known pioneering black journalists, Mark Wadsworth. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Comrade Sack and also Mark's views on whether we've made much progress over the last 30 or so years. Join us after the break.
Leica Radio.
Flight updates are brought to you by TravelUp.com. Flights, hotels and holidays.
Let's go for a flight update. All flights are as scheduled, but please check with your flight operators before heading to the airport.
Flight updates were brought to you by TravelUp.com. Lowest prices are guaranteed only when you book directly through TravelUp.com. Call 0207 580 5000.
Leica Radio.
Traffic and travel.
I'm Michael Page. In West London, the M4 Heathrow Spur is queuing heading into the airport. And staying in the west, the A4 remains closed heading into town, coming from the Hogarth roundabout to the Hammersmith flyover for accident investigation work. Heading out of town, it has now reopened. Because of the Ride London event taking place today, there are still closures in central, east and north east London. And because of those closures, there are delays now on the A13 heading out of town, coming from the Blackwall Tunnel to Canning Town flyover. And it's also busy heading into town, approaching Canning Town flyover from Prince Regent Lane. On the trains, overground services aren't currently running between Stratford and Hackney Wick because of overrunning engineering work, and South Eastern services are suspended between Blackheath and Barnhurst while the emergency services deal with an incident. And that's the latest traffic and travel.
The biggest ever summer sale is now on at Dunelm. Maybe you spring out of bed, or you zoom out of bed. However you start your day, there's up to 50% off selected bedding and thousands more home comforts in the Dunelm summer sale. That's home, done your way. Shop in store or online now.
This is Leica Radio.
हम देखेंगे वो दिन के जिसका वादा है जो लोहे अज़ल में लिखा है.
Watch the most talked about film of the year, The Kashmir Files, available in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and also in English.
Streaming now, exclusively on Z5. Subscribe now and get 50% off on Z5's annual pack.
Punjab National Bank International Limited launches mobile app for personal customers. Whether you want to send money to India or view your latest balance, do that on the go. Simply download our app for free from your mobile app store. Terms and conditions apply. For more details, please visit
www.pnbint.com. Deposit protection from FSCS. Authorized by the PRA and regulated by FCA and PRA.
Asian Groceries यानी कि
Om Cash and Carry, Om Cash and Carry, जहाँ मिलती है साफ सुथरी दालें और मिलता है रसोई का खजाना. घर की सारी शॉपिंग करके यहाँ पैसे भी बचाना.
Om Cash and Carry, Unit D1, Braintree Industrial Estate, Braintree Road, Ruislip, HA40EJ, 0208 323 8800.
Om Cash and Carry.
OmCashAndCarry.co.uk.
Hustle Diagnostics provides RT-PCR travel and self-assured COVID testing. Visit hustleddiagnostics.com or call 0300 124 6500.
My family members are coming to UK.
Are they? Leica Mobile is giving 70% discount on all their bundle plans to celebrate the Queen's 70th Jubilee celebration.
Wow! Let me quickly buy some SIM cards for my family online so they can travel independently in UK.
Don't miss our biggest ever discount of 70%. Visit leicamobile.co.uk today. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid from the 27th of May till the 5th of June. When you buy online, new customers only. Leica Leica Mobile.
Sony Pictures and producer Mahesh Babu bring you Major. Inspired by the life of Major Sandeep Onikrishnan, the hero of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. Major in cinemas from Friday the 3rd of June in Hindi and Telugu.
Hello, Britain. Albert Einstein here. To those of you who have got a smart meter, I applaud you. You are helping to modernize Britain's outdated energy system, helping us use more renewable energy. The downside of doing this message on radio is that you can't see that I'm proudly toasting you with a cup of Earl Grey. But the upside is, you can't see that I'm still in my dressing gown. Cheers.
Search Get a Smart Meter today. Consumer action required. Eligibility may vary.
Ever tasted spicy guava ice cream? Try it at Scoop Herb on Ealing Road, Alperton or Rayners Lane, Harrow.
London, are you ready? Broadway City Gwadar presents for the first time ever special performances by Ustad Shafqat Amanat Ali Khan, Arif Lohar, Sanam Marvi, Bilal Saeed, Farhan Saeed, Aima Beg, Humayma Malik and Sain Zahoor. All under one roof on Sunday the 14th of August at OVO Arena, Wembley, London. Tickets from £15. Book now at ovoarena.co.uk. For more information, call 0785 0742 143. That's 0785 0742 143. Media partners Leica Radio and Leica Gold. Brought to you by Samara Events UK.
Bexley Heat's Ali Bhavan now brings you thali, an Indian and Sri Lankan traditional festive full vegetarian set meal with papadom, vada and payasam. Specially made with aromatic basmati rice and atta flour chapati with 11 items of vegetarian curries and sides. Exclusively made for Ali Bhavan and available in store every Friday and Saturday for just £7.50. Ali Bhavan, it's all about food.
Something big is coming. Download the Leica Radio mobile app to find out more soon. Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Leica, London.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm talking to Mark Wadsworth, one of Britain's pioneering black journalists, the author of the best-selling book on the third ethnic minority Asian MP elected to Parliament. It's his 100th anniversary of Saputji Satlawala's election to Parliament in 1922. Mark is his biographer. Mark, why is this anniversary so important, and why is Satlawala such an important figure?
Well, do you know, Saputji Satlawala was the nephew of the founder of Tata Industries. At the time, it was the largest conglomerate, sort of industrial house in India. That's right. And his mother was the junior sister. And so he came from a family of fabulous wealth. And yet he came to Britain, went to Smedley's Hydro in Matlock in Derbyshire to recuperate from, he'd suffered from malaria, and met a waitress there, Sarah, who he fell in love with. She was quite a bit younger, but a white working class woman whom he married. And he got involved in radical politics, first with the Liberal Party, then with the Independent Labour Party, and eventually the Communist Party. But in 1921, he was selected as a parliamentary candidate for North Battersea, the Labour Party parliamentary candidate. And at that time, it was possible to be a member of the Communist Party and the Labour Party. And the Labour National Executive actually endorsed him as their official candidate. So it was remarkable that someone of colour, someone who was born in India and was very solidly against the Raj and British colonial rule of India, should be so popular among white working class electors, because Battersea was 99.999 recurring white. And there were quite a few Irish people there, people of Irish descent. It had Clapham Junction, a major railway complex, 9 Elms, very working class.
Mark Wadsworth, one final question. Can you tell me, in your view, having been involved as a journalist and as a activist for 30 years. What is the one thing that you think society can do in order to improve issues of representation for the black and ethnic minority communities?
If there was one thing that I would want, it is that at last white, privileged, middle-class, male-dominated Britain accepts that people of African, Caribbean, Asian descent, people of colour, we speak on our own behalf, that we decide who represents us, that we have self-determination. And I don't see that happening. There's still tokenism going on, hand-picked African, Caribbean and Asian people and other people of colour. And that's just not good enough. And there will be uprisings, there will be discontent if this continues. Martin Luther King once said, tokenism is the worst form of racism. And we've got to be able to have our own representatives like you were and other people from the black sections were in 1987.
Mark Wadsworth, congratulations again on your programme. If you haven't heard it as yet, then please tune in to BBC Sounds, where you can hear about the amazing life of Aladu Equiano. It is well worth a listen. Mark Wadsworth, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Keith.
छत टप के आवागी तन पढ़ के जावागी तुझ पे नजरों ब्लॉक हो गई मेरी हद हो गई डिसेंसी की गल हो गई अर्जेंसी की बहुत हुई डिस्टेंस तेरी मेरी कदी ते क्लोज है लिया मैं तेरे हार्ट ਨੂੰ टच करना ये डटनी पीछे नहीं हटनी तू एक दिन मेरा ही होना ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ
मचिया क्यों आफत कभी आग का दरिया तू पहली दफा ये स्टाइल तेरा जाना था नहीं पता ये टाइम भी है आना कहे तू क्लोजर या ये इस पल हो ही नहीं सकता
के जटड़ी पीछे नहीं हटनी तू एक दिन मेरा ही होना ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ मार्केट से एक रोज ला दूं घर पे तेरे हर रोज ला दूं छड़ नखरे बस फाइनली हाँ कर दे और फिर क्लोज है रे मैं तेरे हार्ट ਨੂੰ टच कर ला ये जटनी पीछे नहीं हटनी तू एक दिन मेरा भी होना ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ओ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ
Your dream holiday will be departing soon. Please make your way to the gate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome on board. Sit back and enjoy your flight to paradise.
We've missed these sounds, so let us book your next dream holiday. Call Citybond Holidays today on 0207 290 0616. We are ATOL protected.
Hey, it's time to wake up and smell the VAT returns.
What? From April, Making Tax Digital applies to businesses with a turnover of under 85k. That means you. Oh.
And paper records ain't going to cut it this time. You have to keep digital records using software like QuickBooks.
But don't worry, we've made it easier than ever. Phew. Make tax digital with QuickBooks.
Grace Entertainment presents the return of Sunidhi Chauhan live in the UK. On Sunday, the 10th of July 2022 at the Eventim Apollo, London. For tickets, contact Videorama on 0208 907 0116 or via Ticketmaster and Eventim. Sunidhi Chauhan UK Tour. Radio partner, Leica Radio. आज के इस प्रॉपर्टी मार्केट में अपना घर लेना मेरे लिए बस एक सपना था। क्रेयॉन फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज ने मुझे होम ओनर बनाया और ये सपना पूरा किया।
मेरी पुरानी क्रेडिट हिस्ट्री की वजह से हर हाई स्ट्रीट बैंक ने मुझे रीमॉर्गेज करने से मना कर दिया। क्रेयॉन फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज ने मेरी मंथली पेमेंट भी कम कराई और तो और मेरी बेटी की शादी के पैसे भी दिलाए। थैंक यू क्रेयॉन।
क्रेयॉन आपकी जिंदगी में रंग भर दे। 12 बाथ रोड हाउंसलो 0208 572 4455. That's 0208 572 4455. Authorized and regulated by FCA. T's and C's apply.
Hello, Britain. Albert Einstein here. Smart meters are helping people all over the country manage their household budgets. They show how much energy you're using and what it's costing you daily, weekly, and monthly. So, for example, my neighbor Josh might learn he takes too long in the shower, which could even help him reduce how much energy he's using.
For extra help managing your household budgets, search Get a Smart Meter today. Consumer action required. Energy systems and eligibility may vary.
जीतेगा कौन? Hindustan. Ayushmann Khurrana is back in Anek, exploring the North-East conflict in Anubhav Sinha's political drama.
North Indian नहीं, South Indian नहीं, East Indian नहीं, West Indian नहीं, सिर्फ Indian कैसे होता है?
Anek, releasing May the 27th.
Ever tasted tender coconut ice cream? Try it at Scoop Herb on Ealing Road, Alperton or Rayners Lane, Harrow.
बेक्सली हीथ के अली भवन जाइए तो आपका पेट कभी नहीं रहेगा खाली क्योंकि वहाँ मिलता है थाली इंडियन और श्रीलंकन ट्रेडिशनल फेस्टिव फुल वेजिटेरियन सेट मील जिसमें शामिल है पापड़म वड़ा एंड पायसम स्पेशली मेड विद एरोमेटिक बासमती राइस एंड आटा फ्लावर चपाती एंड 11 items of vegetarian curries and sides exclusively made for Ali Bhavan and available in store every Friday and Saturday for just £7.50. Ali Bhavan, it's all about food.
यूके से पाकिस्तान में बिल्स पे करने का सबसे बेफिक्र तरीका जानते हैं? बेफिक्र मोबाइल ऐप डाउनलोड बेफिक्र ऐप टुडे और विजिट BAYFIKR.net.
Get ready for the voice that has captured a million hearts. Dairy Valley presents in association with event stars Zubin Nautiyal live in concert for the first time in the UK on the 25th of June at the Morningside Arena Leicester and the 26th of June over Arena Wembley in London. Get your tickets now from AXS and leicesterarena.co.uk or call Videorama on 0208 907 0116. Promoted by Rock On Music.
Keith Vaz on Talking Points. Leica.
In just 96 hours, the Queen's Jubilee celebrations will begin in the United Kingdom. Many groups up and down the country will be joining in the celebrations and creating something special. Let's go over to Leicester and talk to Hema Chamyora, who grew up in Leicester and graduated from Brunel University in London. She supports community outreach and communication at the famous People Centre in Belgrave, which was opened in 2005. After she graduated and moved back to Leicester, she realised the importance of this organisation, which was founded by local women in a group called the Sisters of Belgrave Beheno, which was led by the formidable Rita Patel. She joins me this morning from the People's Centre. Good morning, Hema Chamyara.
Good morning, Keith.
Now, Hema, what is planned for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations at the People's Centre?
So to mark the Queen's Jubilee, we are launching an exhibit on Friday the 3rd of June, kind of to mark 70 years of reign. And that's done through a visual timeline, including images of the Queen since her coronation, with lots of accounts of her visits to Leicester. And it forms a kind of a backdrop with a kind of contributions from the local community to their stories and their experiences, the Queen's visits, and also their local lives. This has all been put together by our new cultural programmer, Gurdeep Sian. So we call him G. And he's kind of going out in the community and doing a lot of kind of then and now kind of artifacts, so showing how Belgrave and the community looked over the last 70 years and how it looks currently, and kind of showing that in a visual timeline. And he's also recording local stories in the multitude of ethnic languages that we have throughout the city. So it's going to be quite an interesting exhibit. And we've also got a bit of a Bollywood extravaganza going on as well, which is loads of fun. So we've got 70 years worth of Bollywood film music. We've got a live show on the Friday night. So we've got lots going on. We've also partnered up with Devonport University. You've got an Indian film archive, so we'll be showing those as well.
Will you be showing my favourite film at that, Om Shanti Om? Do you think that's going to be on there?
We can do. If that's what you like, we'll see what we can dig out for you, absolutely.
28 years after she was on the throne, Hema was born. What does Queen Elizabeth II mean to you?
Well, she's been a constant figure, I guess, in my life. And, I think about this from time to time, even at the previous Jubilee. And to me, she's a figure of what we call in the Indian community, seva, so service, serving your community, serving the people around you. She's also, a really important female figure for me. She's someone I look up to. For the fact that she has been constantly there, serving the country, representing the country, and also, I guess, she's a worldwide iconic figure, so I admire her a lot in that sense.
Mm-hmm. She really is someone who inspires stability, doesn't she? You feel everything's going to be all right when you see Queen Elizabeth II. I certainly remember when she visited Leicester on the two occasions that I met her there. One was at the Avalon Centre, and then later on when I saw her in Rome. She is really inspirational, isn't she?
Absolutely is. And I have a little story. I actually have met the Queen myself.
Oh, my goodness.
I just remembered that. No, actually, I did know this, but I think when I think about her physical presence, when the Curve, the famous theatre in Leicester opened, I actually was part of the opening ceremonies, and I danced a piece which was a blend of South Indian classical dance, which is Bharatanatyam, with contemporary dance, which I did with kind of international famous dancer Akasha Dedra, who's based in Leicester as well. So that for me was quite a highlight. I think that's probably, when I tell that story, it really impresses people. They're kind of in awe that I've actually been in such close proximity to Her Majesty. So that's definitely a story I will tell all my life.
Wow. We've now interviewed a woman who has danced for the Queen of England. I feel a very special connection, and you are so lucky that this is radio. Otherwise, I would have insisted that you gave us that Queen's dance once again. Hema Chamyara, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to all those at the Great People's Centre in Leicester. The celebration sounds absolutely wonderful, and I hope they're a huge success.
Thank you, Keith, and best wishes to all the listeners of Leica Radio. Do come down on the 3rd of June to see the celebrations at 7 p.m.
तेरी मंजिल इश्क का दरिया है बहता डूब जा तुझसे है कहता हाँ मेरी बाहों में आके मिल शराबी क्या शराबी दिल में जिसके गम न हो लुट गया समझो शराबी पास जिसके हम न हो ओ साकी साकी रे साकी साकी आवाज रह न जाए कोई ख्वाहिश बाकी
personalities that matter with Keith Vaz on Talking Points.
Leica Radio.
That's it for this week. Time's up. It's nearly 10 o'clock. My thanks to Klaus Mitchell, Mark Wadsworth and Hema Chiyama. Special thanks to my producer Rupi and my editor Adam. To end today's program, let's hear First Class, sung by Arjit Singh and Neeta Mohan, which has had 1.9 million views on YouTube. Please stay tuned to Leica Radio for the rest of the day. Next up, we have Sheena with her Sunday Sensations. What a treat Sheena has in store for us. This has been Talking Points on Leica Radio with Keith Vaz, broadcasting from London. Have a great Sunday.
मेरे होठों से धुआंधार निकलती है जो बोली जैसे जैसे बंदूक की गोली मेरे तेवर में तहजीब की रंगीन रंगोली जैसे जैसे तो ईद में होली मेरे होठों से धुआंधार निकलती है जो बोली जैसे जैसे बंदूक की गोली मेरे तेवर में तहजीब की रंगीन रंगोली जैसे जैसे तो ईद में होली मेरी जीवन की दशा थोड़ा रस्तों का नशा थोड़ी मंजिल की प्यास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है कसम से बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है पल में तोड़ा पल में मासा जैसी बाजी वैसा पासा अपनी थोड़ी हटके दुनियादारी है करना क्या है चांदी सोना जितना पाना उतना खोना हमको दिल के धंधे के व्यापारी है मेरी मुस्कान लिए कभी आती है सुबह कभी शामें उदास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है कसम से बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है सबके होठों पे चर्चा तेरा उठता गलियों में परचा तेरा यूं तो आशिक है लाखों मगर सबसे ऊंचा है दर्जा तेरा जेब में हो अठन्नी भले चलता नोटों में खर्चा तेरा यूं तो आशिक है लाखों मगर सबसे ऊंचा है दर्जा तेरा सबसे ऊंचा है दर्जा तेरा मेरी तारीफ से छुपती फिर बदनामियां मेरी जैसे जैसे वो आंख में चोली मेरे तेवर में तहजीब की रंगीन रंगोली जैसे जैसे वो ईद में होली मेरी जीवन की दशा थोड़ा रस्तों का नशा थोड़ी मंजिल की प्यास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है कसम से बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है
Across London on 1458 AM and DAB.